All right, we're back here at StockPulse Silver Symposium number 3 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I've got Chad Williams here. He is the chairman of Honey Badger Silver, ticker sign TUF, Toronto Venture Exchange, and we got HBEIF on the OTC markets here in the state. Chad, hey, really appreciate you taking the time and the support.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invite. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear about Honey Badger. We were talking here off air, and I got a little different opinion now than I did before. So this is not quite the story I thought. So I guess start at the start here and tell me what you're looking to do.
Sure. I'll tell you first what we are not. We are not a mining company, and we're not an exploration company. Okay? So what we are is a silver mineral asset aggregator. We have a thesis that silver is going to $100 an ounce or more. And we believe now's the time to buy silver assets in the ground. Think of it as a natural vault. Okay? You can buy silver bullion and put it in your safe at home. What we're doing is buying silver mineral deposits, millions of ounces, and they're in the ground. And if silver does rise, those assets will be much, much, much more valuable. We're picking these up for pennies, 10 cents an ounce, 1 cent an ounce. And so if silver does rise, these assets are going to be worth thousands of times more than what we're paying for them right now. That's our thesis. And nobody else in the world is doing what we're doing.
Yeah, unique indeed. Let's talk about what could help the silver price here. Year 3 of the symposium, this is the 3rd low. So every year we do the show, it's the low. So I guess I'll get with you next year and we'll figure out when the new low is going to be.
Yeah.
But now we should have a little move here. So you're buying things for pennies on the dollar. How long is that going to last?
In what term? Like how long is silver going to take to rise?
How long are you going to get these conditions to be able to buy these cheap assets?
Well, that's a good question. And I can tell you it's a fact that we are extremely aggressive and busy, and we're looking at hundreds of different assets. We've got highly smart, credible people that have done this before, that are well connected, and we're cycling through ideas all the time. And many ideas we pass. Either the political risk is too high, or the technical aspect of the project doesn't merit us buying it, or the price is too high. So we're very selective. You'll see us make announcements. We're about to announce another acquisition. We have 5 silver projects right now. We're about to announce another one. And literally within days or weeks, we'll have well over, you have to work with us a little bit here, but notionally well over 100 million ounces of silver. And we have a 4 million Canadian, what is that, 3 million US market cap? So in my personal humble opinion, there's no cheaper way to have access and leverage, no greater way to have access to silver than buying Honey Badger shares. I bought some shares recently. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm a big shareholder. I own 10% of this company. I'm still buying shares, and I will continue to buy shares.
Yeah, so let's talk about the investors coming around here. Downtrodden market, again, opportunity here. I think if I can read between the lines, kind of can't miss here at this level. So we're going to get a bounce. Talk about the future. Carve out a message for an investor walking by. What are you telling when they're here, Chad?
Well, it's very simple. To sell high, you have to buy low. And to buy low, and it's not in our human intuition or behavior. You know, like if you were a cave person, a Neanderthal, let's say, and you were the first person to drink out of a pond, chances are you may die. And so you wait for animals, you wait for other people to drink, okay? So that's the way we are. But smart investors, they are contrarian. Look at Warren Buffett. He bought the banks when nobody else wanted to touch the banks, okay? You've got to think outside the box. You have to think in the future. Our philosophy is we pretend that we have a newspaper article 5 years from now that says silver hits $100 an ounce, okay? Well, we don't know if that's going to happen, if it's 5 years or 5 months, or we just don't know. We don't have a crystal ball, but that's our thesis. So if silver hits $100, we're going to be well positioned, and people are going to want our assets. Right now, we have no competition, zero. And so that's why we can buy these assets very, very cheaply. But it's not easy to do, to buy low. It's not part of our human nature. You have to do things sort of against your human nature. And that's what we're doing. That's why we're super aggressive. You know, and the hardest part about this is try to convince people to buy along with us right now. Okay? And then I'm going to tell you, I've been doing this for 30 years. The second hardest thing is to get them to sell it at the top. Okay? The people that didn't want to buy at the bottom are people that won't want to sell at the top. I've been through many, many cycles. It's just human nature. It's just the way it is.
What's the sweet spot for assets you're looking for? You got any in particular?
So we're looking for assets in the ground, so ounces in the ground, okay? Quality, higher grade assets that become economic as the silver price rises. Think of it as a long dated call option on silver, okay? Our holding costs are insignificant. So we look at, one of the things we look at is very low holding costs. So it's a free, I love free options. Free options are the greatest, okay? So we have 5, soon to be 6, essentially free options. We choose to do a lot of, like conceptual work, because that doesn't cost a lot of money. What costs money is drilling, right? And so we do a lot of work behind the scenes. We do a little bit of work on the ground by grabbing grab samples, because we know we need to generate some news as well. So we'll be generating news on 3 of our projects in the next couple of weeks as well, okay? Keep the market interested, know that we're active, so we are doing some work on them. But, at the end of the day, the best way to create value in mining, there's 2 ways to do it, okay? You either buy these assets or you find assets. And finding, there's a right market for finding, and it's not the right time right now. At the peak of the market, we'll be able to fund exploration, and we'll be working a lot more on our existing assets to create value that way. But right now, we bought an asset in the Yukon for $250,000. Over $65 million was spent on that asset. We just bought another one. We staked for $18,000 of staking, one of the world's greatest base metal mines. It was completely forgotten. Nobody wanted this thing, all right? And we think it has 100 million ounces of silver just sitting right there. We paid $18,000 for that. So those are the kinds of deals we do. And the reason we're able to do this is we've done it before. We have highly competent people, okay, technically very strong people. We've got great relationships, okay? This one called Nana Civic that we paid $18,000 for, one of the top base metal silver mines, that was shown to us by one of the top mining analysts in the world, okay? Like, this guy is a genius. He saw it and he goes, why don't you guys buy it? So we've got great connections. We've got a great board. We've got the ability to transact. We've got great shareholders who believe in us. And so that's how we're able to do it. It's not simple to do it. Not everybody can do it, I can tell you that. Yeah. But we're able to do it.
It sounds like if you're buying that cheap, you got a little room for error there. So
yeah, we're not. Listen, we're for sure, and it's a little bit like poker. Not every hand is going to win, and even if you've got, to use the Texas Hold'em in Vegas here, but to use the Texas Hold'em analogy, you can have 2 aces in the hole and still lose the hand to 3 2s. Okay, and so things could happen. So that's why we're going to have an array of assets. Okay, we're not going to bank on one of them. We're going to have an array, not 50, but let's say 5 to 10, and some of these assets won't make it long term. And that's another thing too, we're not married to our assets. If we can find a better asset, we'll drop one that isn't as good. We'll continue increasing the quality of our asset portfolio over time, okay?
Give us the health of the company, how's the treasury looking, and give us a share count.
So like I said, we've got about a $3 million US market cap. We've got about 750,000 US in the bank. We've got 35 million shares, if I'm not mistaken. Stock trades at about 7 cents US. We have low volume. The volume has really dried up. And that's just symptomatic of the market and the lack of attention that we are getting, that other silver companies are getting. And so for investors, one thing that I would ask though is investors need to be patient with us. This is this is
long game.
It's a 3 to 5 year plan, really. It takes a while to acquire these things. It takes a while for us to optimize them. As I said, we are going to do a little bit of work on them to demonstrate to the market that these assets do have merit. And so people, don't go all in on this, just buy a little bit, chip away at it. One of the presenters a little while ago had very good advice. He said, every 2 weeks, buy something. Use time to your advantage. And I wish somebody would have given me that advice. And I'm not saying buy Honey Badger every 2 weeks, but chip away at it over a period of time. Nobody is smart enough or lucky enough to pick the bottom. There's no bell that rings at the bottom. There's no bell that rings at the top. So, if somebody gets disgruntled and wants to sell Honey Badger, the market is not highly liquid right now, so they do have an impact on the stock. So just, you may want to just sit there and which is what I do. I just wait for the bids, for the sellers to come to me, and I scrape the bottom. And for the technical folks out there, the chart folks, we're at the stock's been around. I've only been around for about 3 years, but the stock's been around for dozens of years, and we're at a double bottom. And so chart-wise, it looks very, very attractive right now as an entry point.
And we're at the bottom of silver.
And we're at the bottom of silver, and we're at the bottom of Honey Badger, we think.
There you go. Okay. Chad Williams, he's the chairman, Honey Badger Silver, TUF, Toronto Venture Exchange, HBEIF, OTC in the States. Chad, really appreciate the time and the update, and glad to know more about Honey Badger.
Perfect.